If you traveled back in time to 2014 and showed somebody a picture of this roster, not only would they pee their pants, but they would tell you that this is probably the first ever 82-0 team to appear in the NBA. Now, not only did this team not go 82-0, but they went 33-49 and missed the playoffs altogether. Seriously? They would ask. How does a squad with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, and Russell Westbrook end up with a 33-49 record? On paper, this team looked stacked, but in reality, they were a total mess. Injuries, bad roster construction, and terrible defense all contributed to this disaster. But how did the Lakers end up in a position to cook up one of the worst NBA super teams to ever see the light of day?
It's the Lakers.
Well, it all started in the summer of 2021 when general manager Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office made sweeping changes to the entire roster. On July 29, 2021, the Lakers sent Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious, Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, and their 2021 first-round pick, 22nd overall, to the Washington Wizards in exchange for none other than Hall of Famer and former MVP, Russell Westbrook, and 2 second-round picks. This was meant to create a new Big Three in Los Angeles of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook himself. Now, this would have been great if this was the Westbrook they were getting.
You want to talk about putting some hurt. Durant running to the rim. Oh!
Or even this one. Instead, they would get a brand new era of Westbrook, but more on that later. Essentially, this trade meant that all their young talent was gone, and what followed next was a slew of what some might regard as questionable veteran signings. Because the Lakers' cap space was already bloated with the 3 massive salaries of Davis, LeBron, and Westbrook, they signed veterans Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, DeAndre Jordan, and a few other vets willing to sign for the veteran minimum. They officially had built the team with the oldest average age in the entire team, which led to part of their problems. But they also had a few young stars in the mix with their roster construction in Austin Reeves, Malik Monk, and Talen Horton-Tucker. The team was complete, and LeBron fired this bold tweet before the season even began. Everything seemed perfect, and this team seemed poised to win 70-plus games. Easy. As long, of course, as everyone remained healthy, right? The basketball gods decided to laugh at Lakers fans as midway through the season, 2 of the Big Three fell. On December 17, 2021, Davis suffered an MCL sprain in his left knee during a game against the Minnesota Timberwolves, taking him out for 5 weeks and limiting him to just 40 games. That season, LeBron also struggled with knee soreness and was held to just 56 games. Meanwhile, the remaining star of the Big Three gave us one of the most unforgettable seasons of his career. Why? No one would have ever imagined him playing like this.
Pulls up, wants to use the window and hit the top of the glass.
Once signed, Russell Westbrook quickly became one of the most inefficient and hated players in the NBA. He averaged 3.8 turnovers per game, the 3rd highest in the NBA, all while shooting 29% from 3 and 66% from behind the line. He did all this while averaging 18.5 points per game, his lowest average since 2010.
Got 13. Westbrook missed it all.
His defense was no better. His defensive box plus minus was a negative 1.4. One of the worst in the league, and the Lakers became the 2nd worst team in the NBA in terms of turnover percentage and 9th worst in defense overall. This meant that Westbrook was a defensive liability overall. Almost as though to add insult to injury, Russell Westbrook was the healthiest and most available player on the roster, playing 78 out of 82 games with these miserable stats. Russell Westbrook became a meme, and it became clear he was no longer the prime MVP-caliber superstar we all fell in love with in OKC. Instead, he was a net negative on the team, with the Lakers playing better with him off the court as opposed to on it. This meme-worthy season saw him getting trolled for his airball jumpers, reverse clutch performances in crunch time, and very, very questionable decision-making on the court. Not even LeBron, who averaged 30.5 points per game, the 2nd highest in his career, could save this team.
Monk back to James. Oh, beautiful over the
Kent Bazemore was an absolute bust. He was supposed to be the 3-and-D guy on their starting lineup, but fell short, averaging only 3 points per game and being relegated to a deep bench role at the end of the season and recording a string of DNPs. It was the same story with former All-Star DeAndre Jordan, who was supposed to be a lob threat and rim protector. But he was so bad that he was waived mid-season, with his spot being filled by Dwight Howard. He also left the team along with Rajon Rondo, whose contributions aren't even worth mentioning. In spite of these failings, there were a few bright spots in their season, particularly with Malik Monk, who turned out to be an absolute steal, and Austin Reeves, who showed signs of potential for a bigger role, which he would later end up getting. Carmelo Anthony also had a terrific season for someone playing in their 19th season, and he adapted to the bench role perfectly in this stint. But who really killed the 2022 Lakers? Was it the front office who traded away the team's entire young core for a group of senior citizens in their twilight years? Or Westbrook, who could build a city with all the bricks he was throwing up all season? Maybe it was Frank Vogel's fault, who put in bad rotations. Or it was just that the stars themselves were plagued with injury after injury? Probably all the above. But ultimately, the Lakers ended up finishing the season with a 33-49 record, missing the playoffs and play-in tournament altogether as an 11th seed overall. There were a bunch of other reasons why they lost, like the loss of defensive anchors like Alex Caruso, etc. But overall, the season was a bust. The 2022 Lakers were a reminder that super teams don't guarantee success. You need balance, you need defense, and you need health. And maybe, just maybe, a little youth wouldn't hurt. So if you're ever frustrated that your team isn't performing, remember you could always be the 2022 Lakers. Hopefully, we've learned our lesson, because I don't ever want to live through a season like that again. Be sure to support the channel by clicking the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one.